Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Yep, and talking tonight with Barry Ferguson and Peter Grant. This is Paul Cooney welcoming you to the show. Well, Celtic slumped to a 4-1 defeat to Stuttgart in Glasgow last night. Some of the fans lambasted their goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. Martin O'Neill lambasted some of the fans who were protesting with pointless tennis ball first minute stoppage. Well, Peter, you were there last night. It was his 1000th game in charge. You could see, though, the disunity is affecting the team because of 20 seconds into the game, and it stopped for 3 minutes. It's a terrible look. What did you make of it overall when you left last night and you thought, what happened tonight?
No, well, Paul, obviously the frustration happens in the first minute because the build up to the game was great. There was a great atmosphere around about it, and you're looking for the game to start. Like anybody, Barry will tell you, players, you're just wanting the game to start. And then once the game starts, then it gets stopped again. I told you at Dundee, it's not what Celtic do. Like, they've never done that. You know, they've had their protests before. I've been in there as well at times when it's happened. But that's the one thing, they left it to what they were singing or whatever. But to break the game up in a big European night, it doesn't look good for Celtic. And they're revered round the world for the support. You know, they've got to be very, very careful the way things are going now, because you don't want it to be turning and people think complete opposite of what they are. And it was really disappointing to see last night, I must admit, and probably that summed up the performance, really.
And what about the booing of Kasper Schmeichel? Look, we know it was a horror night for him, really, at least two of the goals. What did you feel about it to see him being booed by some of the Celtic fans?
It's never nice, Paul. I've been there myself, and it doesn't matter. You say it doesn't affect you. Of course it does. You know, there is no doubt of that, and it doesn't help. You know you're having a bit of a stinker, and to be fair, I thought he did last night, and his experience as well. And not just on that, you know, there was decisions he made for his experience. You see Stuttgart pushing 4 up, and we're still trying to play out. Then he's going long. As a midfield player, it must be a nightmare, because then the ball drops down and there's nobody in that area, and people are saying, "Oh, the midfield's not getting tight," or there's no support up there. You can't, because if you don't know what the goalkeeper's doing and he kicks the ball when you're not expecting him to kick it, all these wee things. Listen, he's been in the game a long time now. His character, he's had some unbelievable saves. And I'll go back to even the Livingston game, Paul. Celtic were 1-1-0, and he had the best save of the first half. He had a wonderful save. Sure. And he's produced things like that. But the thing is with him, he's got to make sure he uses his experience in the right way. And I thought he didn't do that in the game last night. And obviously, I'm 100% agree with it. It's not easy. It must be terrible for a goalkeeper. It's bad enough being an outfield player, but being a goalkeeper getting the criticism like that doesn't make it any better.
Barry, you watched the game, I take it. What did you make of the match in general?
If I'm being honest, I just thought Stuttgart were a level above, if I'm being honest with you. And they ran out comfortable winners. It doesn't help in terms of the tennis balls coming on after the first minute. I think that plays into Stuttgart's hands, because you're going into an environment which is normally really hostile, certainly in European nights. And then once that get cleared up, I just felt Stuttgart looked very comfortable. And when they gave the goal away for the equaliser to come back, I just thought they stepped it up again. And I thought overall Stuttgart were the better team and ran out worthy winners.
What do you think? Were you there last night? You were watching it? Give us a call, 0808 17 17 700. Here's Martin O'Neill at full time.
I thought that at one each, well and truly in the game, even at half time, said to the players, we're still in this, but we've conceded some really poor goals, soft goals from our viewpoint, and that obviously swings the game.
Soft goals, Peter, for sure. And then they got the chance, you know, the first one, again, it was their own fault for it to happen, playing the ball about the back four, but then they got back into it, like a crazy mix-up at the other end.
Yeah, they did, Paul, but Stuttgart, I agree with Barry, Stuttgart always looked in control. I know Martin's saying at certain periods in the game. I never really seen that. The goalkeeper never really make any great saves. You know, anything Celtic were creating, I thought they handled the wide players exceptionally well. They were so physical and strong against Maeda and Tuneki. You know, and you look at it and you think they never allowed them to turn. So they couldn't get any support to the front man. And as I say, simple things like that with Kasper kicking the ball when the midfielder back, and then you're not getting any control of the game. And Barry will tell you, if you don't control the middle of the pitch, it doesn't matter what level, you're always going to be having a problem. And I just felt Celtic caused their own problems at times. And I thought, well, not at times, throughout the game, I thought they did. And I agree with Barry in the respect that they run out comfortable winners. If you remember the other goal, they were just offside just after to make it 3-1 right away. And I don't think Martin, when he looks at it, and I know he's backing the team 100%, and I understand all that, to keep that confidence or whatever, to build that confidence. But you've got to be brutally honest and say on the night, Stuttgart were comfortable winners.
Martin, you spoke afterwards about the protest which happened in, 20 seconds into the match?
I think there was a disruption like this here. Well, one of the other games that you had this season, was it Dundee, was it, or something like that there? So I never really asked the players about that because it wasn't in my time, but it is now. And I genuinely don't see the point of it. I don't really. It doesn't help. And as I said to you, more to the point of the impact that it has on the opposition, and as much as anything else. But Ian was telling me that Mr. Brian Wilson was having chats with different groups. We were hoping that something good can come from that. But it's not great to see, I must admit. Not great for a fantastic football club like this. And it is a fantastic football club.
And people have said Europe could be good for them, but it could be a distraction as well. And Martin O'Neill will need all his powers, Peter, to get them ready for the weekend and get back to, what most people are talking about, this league title race.
100%. The biggest thing Celtic have got in their favour is their supporters, and it always has been, Paul. I get back to when Rangers last won the league. COVID, no supporters in. It tells you how important Celtic supporters are. And I can imagine the lift it gave Stuttgart, just talking about last night. And in any game, you look at Dundee, lost that, the exact same scenario. So it shows you that's the situation that arises. It doesn't help, it hinders. And it's a problem, it's something that's got to be eradicated, unfortunately. And it's not nice for the players either, because they want that support, they're desperate for it. And you go to Kilmarnock last week, and you get that last minute winner, and you see the euphoria behind the goal, and all the players in amongst it, and Callum after it talking to the support, all this thing. It was magic to see, because that's what you need to win. Rangers have started to bring it back. We were criticising Rangers supporters for it for a long time there, about the criticism, and it's very difficult to play in that environment. Unfortunately, it's swung round to Celtic now, and that is a problem we have. And now it becomes very important. If I'm talking about teams or whatever, and you're talking about the game on Sunday, you pick your best team, because Europe looks as if it's obviously gone. There's no doubt of that. But I've always said the most important thing is the league. And we look at the league, and Celtic are the form team out the top three, which is quite incredible for the criticism they've had for their performances. Yeah. They are the form team.
Yeah, the feeling would be, though, it's probably Rangers, because Hearts obviously losing last weekend. We haven't seen you since. We saw Barry on Monday night. Barry, I see you were at training today. You're looking pretty fit. So you were there along with Mark Haitley, Gordon Jury, the jukebox, Lee McCulloch. Would you call Lee again? What's his? Jig. You call him. And John Brown.
Yep.
Ooh, John Brown. So what was that today?
It's just part of your ambassador role. You're invited to go up to the training ground, watch training for an hour, have a wee cup of tea, have a wee bite to eat, and have a chat with generally the players and the staff. And it's something that Rangers are really keen on, the ambassadors doing, and I think it's a real good thing as well.
Good to see the players. Did they call you Gaffer now? Is it back to Barry or Mr. Ferguson?
No, it was good to see them. I see them sometimes at the games, but obviously sometimes you're in hospitality, you don't get to see them. So it was good to see quite a few of their faces. Had a chat with a few of them. Big John Suter just signed a new contract. So delighted, because that's been going on for a while now, so he seemed really happy that's settled, and hopefully he can really focus on his football. But I think it's always good for the ambassadors to go up to the training ground, and there's a real feel-good factor, a real togetherness about the football club just now.
And I saw in your column today, you said, I'll tell you one of the things I like about Danny Rule, that he isn't wedded to just one system of playing. He'll change it. And you did that last year when you were there. I think of the Fenerbahce game, for example, the Celtic game. But you like it because some young managers come in and say, this is the way I'm going to play, and that's it.
Yep, it's plan A, or you do plan A better. Yeah. I just like the fact that Danny Roll's really flexible. He'll go to a 3 at the back, he'll play 4 at the back, he'll play 2 up top at times. And it's based on whoever he's coming up against. He'll obviously watch them closely, and he'll come up with a formation to hopefully win the game of football, and that's something that I've been really impressed by him.
Team news, this is the manager speaking this afternoon.
Yeah, we have to change some players, not why I want to, I have to. We have small injuries, but I cannot go too much in details today. Who is it? But you will see, I think, on Sunday.
Man of mystery there, isn't he? So what's that about, Barry? What can you tell us?
I'm going to be a man of mystery as
Come
well.
on. All black there, you're sitting there like, where's the milk tray? So what's that then? Is that... So there's no injuries though? That we don't know about. He'll speak shortly about Conor Barron and the return of Cornelius in time.
He
But
keeps people guessing.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do as a manager. I quite like that. Sometimes managers will just sit there and tell you what way they're going to play and what team they're going to select. But listen, he's keeping, obviously, Livingston guessing because, listen, it's a tough place. I know Livingston are sitting bottom of the league, Paul, but they're fighting for their lives. And under Marvin Bartley, they've perked up a bit.
Peter, what do you think? What would you be asking? What do you think he's referring to there?
I think he's just making sure the players go and train well, Paul. I think that's what he's done since he came in.
Yep.
And for me, it doesn't matter what Rangers do. Rangers are going to go and try and take Livingston on and beat them. They'll be thinking Livingston have got play 5 at the back, or they'll play 3, or whatever they're going to do. So he'll be having the wee adjustments there. I always think the likes of Celtic or Rangers could play the same players week in, week out and just do wee adjustments anyway. Yeah. You know, it's all about what you do, and you make the opposition be fearful of you. Very rarely do Celtic and Rangers change, and it's not been disrespectful. It's not changed to suit the opposition. They go and say, let's blow them away. This is how we can hurt them. And I'm sure Danny Rowe's the same. He'll maybe look at the fitness levels of them, and maybe that's the thing. And the turf they're going to play on. I think that's the biggest thing for him. Maybe a few guys have had injuries or whatever previous, and maybe that's the only thing he'll look at to change. Because with them not being involved in Europe, they've got a week now to train every time between a game. Obviously, they're involved in the Cup with Celtic. But that's the big thing, a big advantage they and Hearts have got at this moment in time, that they can just prepare for the league matches, and that's all that's on their mind.
The next few weeks are going to be just unbelievably crucial in where the title's going to go, and also the Scottish Cup. Countdown, Barry, how many sleeps is it?
Yeah, listen, right up until the split, there's a lot of big games, and you want to be getting into that split with full points. So, and there's some tough fixtures, not just for Rangers, also for Celtic, and also for Hearts as well. And it's exciting. 3 teams going hammer and tong at it, and we'll see where each of the 3 clubs end up at the split, which is going to be interesting as well. Who they get in the split.
Of course. Hearts could go on 60 points tomorrow before Rangers or Celtic play. They play Falkirk, but it's an if, isn't it, against Falkirk, who did so well against them in the Cup.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Hearts, I'll be honest with you, but I think Hearts will react in the right manner. I'm sure Derek would have been disappointed with not just the result, but I think the performance as well on Sunday. And I fully expect Hearts to give a big reaction against a good Falkirk team. I know they had a poor result at the weekend against Dundee United at home, but I fully expect Hearts to take the 3 points here.
Peter, I see Hearts are off to Dubai when there's a break. Is that a good thing?
Paul, it's always good if you win when you come back. That's the biggest thing, because everybody will criticise you if you don't. And that's always been the case with football clubs. And I'm a great believer, especially the weather we have back here, getting a bit of sun in your back, being able to train, guarantee, instead of people keeping them warm, really. Sometimes in the training ground, and especially Hearts' training ground, it's wide open as well up there. So you can imagine Derek taking, and listen, they've deserved it. But the big thing is now, what you're going to see with Hearts is the thing I've spoken about all along. They're going to be under more pressure playing a Falkirk and a Livingston in the next few games, because they're expected to win both.
Right. Different psychology.
Because if the game's going a little bit of time without Hearts being in front, I can imagine what their supporters are going to be like. And there'll be things that come, and obviously you're thinking, well, because I heard them in the Cup game against Falkirk. They were getting a little bit of criticism. Falkirk come back in, where Hearts had dominated the first half. Falkirk came in and all of a sudden went, and then all of a sudden you could just sense, and then they get beaten penalty kicks. This is the things that they will have to deal with, because they've not won in the last 2 weeks. They've not won. Right. So all of a sudden they start to come. Rangers are close now, Celtic are close now. That's a different pressure you're playing under.
Barry, do you agree?
I do agree. This will be a big test for them tomorrow. There's no doubt in my mind about it. And the Hearts fans will be going to Tynecastle expecting a real reaction. And that puts added pressure, not just on the manager, but also the players. And it'll be interesting to see if they'll handle it. I do think they will handle it. I have been impressed by them because they've had a few stuffy results throughout the season and they've come back really strong. And like Tynecastle will be sold out tomorrow. But again, a lot of the players have not been in this situation before in their career.
It's different, isn't it?
It's totally different for them. But listen, they're at the top of the league for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they've been really good this season and the manager's been really good. But I'm sure all this week at training, Derek McInnes would have been hammering at home that the fans are expecting us to come out the traps here against Falkirk.
Because you had a wonderful career at Rangers and you, Peter, at Celtic, there's a wry smile almost because you know what it's like to be at the top of the table.
Yeah, but I always say it's hard to win a title. Yeah. It's even harder to retain it.
And it's so difficult, Paul, when you're there. Barry had people run about him. It was winners. He was winners himself. I had people run about me. He'd been winners like Danny McGrain's and Roy Aikens and all that. Tommy Burnsies. All these guys were there. They'd been over the course. Yeah. But you know, you can feel the nervousness in them. But what I'm saying is now, because the supporters are going to think, right, we've got two brilliant games, Falkirk and Livingston. We couldn't ask for any more. Obviously, Rangers gave them a bit of turnover, I thought, last week. I thought Rangers won it very comfortably, to be perfectly honest with you. And I just look at it now. Now this is the pressure ones because they're expected to go and win. There's a difference when that's on you. Celtic and Rangers are expected to win every week. You know, Hearts now, that's the pressure that comes with that. If they beat Celtic or Rangers, which they've done this season on many occasions, but now when they've got a Falkirk and that, they're the games that their fans will be turning up thinking they're 3 points we have to have.
Yeah. If they don't get the 3 points, then Rangers could go top of the table on Sunday because Rangers playing Livy at 3 at the same time, Celtic at home to Hibs. I mean, depending what happens, Celtic could go 57, so they could go joint with Hearts if Rangers were to lose. Unlikely, of course. Poor old Livy only 1 defeat so far. All the chat, I mean, just now, the main talking point today has been about Celtic last night and the performance and some of the aspects of the game. But inevitably now it's back to the league title. What's going to push Rangers to the title? That's the question they put this afternoon to Danny Rowell.
Yeah, I think everything. It's of course, I think the mindset, I can just speak for our players, this is completely there. I think when you beat Celtic away and you beat then Hearts away, this is not so bad. It's now about these games where you think you have to win, to take the 3 points. I think this is crucial. If you want, you can compare maybe the similar situation on the weekend, Arsenal-Wolverhampton. Everyone will think, this is an easy win, but even in these games, the teams down, they have sometimes not so much to lose against these teams, against us, and they try everything, and it's very important that we go serious. But I feel that at the moment there's no doubt, also the training session yesterday, there was 100% focus on the next action, and it was good to see that nobody is lazy. Everyone wants to be part of the group. I think this is also good. Have the challenge in the starting 11, have the challenge to be in the squad, and it helps massive.
Andy's been on 08, 08, 17, 17, 700 saying, Barry, did Danny Rowell, does he ask you and some of the other legends just for some tips in general when you're there at training?
No, not today. We were just talking in general about actually Glasgow as a city. Is he enjoying it?
What did he say?
Yeah, he's this was the first time ever he had been in Glasgow when he first arrived in. So yeah, he says he really enjoys living in Glasgow. He's been through to Edinburgh, really likes that as well. So he looks in a good place, and you could see that in training today. The tempo was really good. It was really bubbly. You could tell that there's real competition for places as well. There was real intensity. That's what I like to see.
Does he get out and have a coffee? Remember GVB and Ange, they would meet up occasionally in the
I was going to say, Paul, Glasgow is lovely, as long as you're winning. That's for sure. Barry will tell you the same thing. As long as you're winning, being involved with Celtic.
Mentioned the weather, but I was thinking, Germany's not that great either.
No, exactly. I'll tell you what he was asked about today, Skov Olsen, and Rangers fans want to see the best of him. I heard you saying last week, Barry, you'd like to see even more from him. This is what the manager said on that today.
I think step by step, I think this is a little bit this what I thought when we signed him. We see something in him. We see the quality. We see the technical ability. We see decision making. But it was all about give the player the right rhythm, and then you put him on. I think this is for me a big one. When you bring new players in, we know we are very demanding as a club, and especially the first impression is very important. If you have a good first impression, then it's much easier to play with this shirt, because then you have the confidence, and it was for me in the last 4 weeks really crucial to give the players the right opportunity to start to score, have good moments for the new signings.
Peter Grant, what do you see when you see Skov Olsen? I know you haven't seen much so far.
No, I really like him, Paul. I told you before he came. I know obviously he's had issues since he got his transfer, but I really loved him when he was at Bruges. I thought he was really exciting. You know, I like wingers, Paul, that can go on the outside and put crosses in, and that's exactly what he done for the goal last week. He gets there, but then not just putting the ball in, he just clips it up, and it's a fantastic header.
Class.
But I love wingers that can go on the outside. There's too many come inside now. And I don't care. I watched Europe the other night there. The amount of crosses that come in with a right footer from the right hand side, the amount of goals that was scored from it is incredible. So I'm still a great believer in the old winger being out on his stronger foot. I know he can play with his left or his right, and that's where he's got that little bit of skill. And I think the fitter he gets, he's going to be a top player for them.
Barry? Skov Olsen.
Yeah, I said I was excited when Rangers signed him. It was going to take him a bit of time to get up to speed, because he hadn't played a lot of football at Wolfsburg, hence the reason why Rangers got the opportunity to sign him. But you don't play Bologna, Bruges, Wolfsburg if you're not a good player at a high standard, and 40 odd caps for Denmark. So he's certainly a player, in my opinion, that will make a difference, no doubt, to the Rangers team.
Barry's smiling there. On YouTube you may see Barry's smile, because we can hear somebody in the background there. So I was at Sean Connery's house many years, in fact it was years ago, to do
but just that big
to do
name
an
drop
interview,
there.
correct, seriously. And we were doing an interview, right, and then he goes, excuse me a minute, he goes, quiet. So I'll do a Sean Connery, shut it, we're back, you can call after this.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
We were just saying there during the traffic, Barry, it's important, isn't it? I think you got everyone together this time last year at Auchenhowie, and you wanted everyone, wherever you worked, in the restaurant canteen, whatever you call it, the back rooms, because it's that thing about putting a man in the moon, whatever you do. And somebody said, what do you do? I helped to put a man in the moon. What did you do? And I was cleaning the whatever. Everybody has to be
so important.
part of it.
The people behind the scenes, the people, kitchen staff, cleaners, receptionists, everybody, security guys. I just think it's important that you make them feel welcome. And I got that vibe today, I'll be honest with you. People were bubbly. And it certainly helps when the team's performing really well and getting good results, Paul.
Referee John Beaton is going to officiate at Dundee United against Kilmarnock. Why am I telling you this? Because it's just 3 days after the Aberdeen Motherwell game, where he listened to VAR, especially the third one, and he changed his decision, and Liam Gordon was sent off. And I think anyone who's seen it thinks, oh, come on, John, you're better than that. Barry, what did you feel on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I was baffled by the decision. Even the first one, the boy clearly slips, and I know it's in the rule books, but a bit of common sense you can clearly see. But some of the officiating isn't up to the standards it should be, Paul, if I'm being brutally honest.
Well, it's going to have to be good, Peter, isn't it? Because now 12 games to go for Rangers and Hearts, 11 for Celtic. Everyone's going to be looking at this. I don't know, they seem to... Are they under more pressure or something? What's happened? Why does the VAR guy think, let's make it difficult for ourselves by not having common sense? That's the Liam Gordon one. It was never a red card.
Well, I find it quite incredible. They all train together, Paul, or whatever. Yeah. They all get the rules. This is the rule right across. I go back to Celtic at Tynecastle. Mm-hmm. The referee called it 100% right, pointed where the ball was going, all that, and then goes over, and John was on it and changed his mind. You see it the other night there, and it beggars belief, actually. If somebody's going to score for that position and thinks that defenders are not going round, and Barry will tell you, running with the ball compared to somebody catching, and there was no doubt our defenders were coming round. When you look at the still, it looks massive space, but there wasn't a massive space. You see that in the general play. So all these situations, and that's when you get annoyed, because I think I've got a jail card, because if they get it wrong, they can go over and look at it. And I've always said to you, before VAR come in, if there's ever going to be a title race, and if you remember, I go back, what was it, 3 or 4 years back now, we go back and we said, if the VAR comes in and there's a title race, that's when we'll see what they're made of. Yeah. Because decisions are going to have to be made in this. all in this. And Motherwell, I'm not discounting Motherwell either. Motherwell, Rangers, Hearts,
Yeah,
Celtic, all of them are going to get decisions.
course.
And that's going to be an issue. And my biggest issue is for them is they all live within a small area, Glasgow or Lanarkshire, whatever you want to call it. And it is a problem because VAR could be the decider of the league.
Let's go on the lines. Gary is on. He's called 0808 17 17 700. Hi, Gary. Good evening.
Evening, Paul. Evening, guys. How we good?
Evening, Gary.
Yeah, good. Were you at the match last night?
No. I just watched it in the house. I watched about 55 minutes and then switched it off, to be honest, Paul.
Did you?
Yeah, just seen enough.
At 3-1?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I think obviously even at 3-1, I think the tie was definitely over. Elvis went to 4-1, so I don't really know what happened in the last half hour and didn't see the booing of Casper Schmeichel. But yeah, it was just miles off it last night, to be fair. I think even at Europa League level, I think when you look at a year ago, we were so close to beating Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and now we don't even look like a Europa League team.
That was just 1 year and 1 day since that game. But your club is so divided. We keep saying this, that you're never you're not going to win if you're divided, a football club or any kind of organisation. I mean, you'll win some things, but not maximising. What do you think went wrong last night?
I mean, I don't know, to be fair. In terms of the team lineup, I probably, if I was going to change anything, I think I would have probably had Sriracha in ahead of Tierney and maybe change Bernardo up for Sunday. But to be fair, I think the players, as you say, the players seem to be up for it when they came out. The tunnel, the atmosphere seemed to be good. And then the tennis ball incident, which was absolutely ludicrous. I am fed up of seeing this. I'm sick to the back teeth of seeing this. And I think Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, when the camera went on them last night, they were fizzing. They were absolutely spitting feathers, and I think it doesn't do the players any good because Casper Schmeichel looked like he was raging again. The same happened at Dundee United, and it was just like, is this what we're going to have every single week now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Peter, do you know that 30,000 Stuttgart fans applied for tickets? Because they know about Glasgow, they know about Celtic, they know about Rangers. They wanted to come and sample the atmosphere.
But they were phenomenal last night, Paul. They never shut up for the full game, you know what I mean? They were brilliant. And that's what Celtic Park was always about. We won European games at Celtic Park that we didn't deserve to win. And it was only because of the supporters. And I say that constantly. And I'm not trying to blow smoke up them in any shape or form. It's fact. There's no getting away from that. A united Celtic support, it pushes mountains for Celtic Football Club. When it's the opposite way, because there was even a divide last night, there was people booing round about us that weren't happy with the balls coming on and that as well. They weren't happy. They've seen enough of it. They're not happy. There's different ways they want, not on the pitch. Don't involve the players in it in the respect to that's what they're trying to get. And that's what I'm hearing them saying sitting there. And it's very, very difficult, because we can all sit here on that high mountain and tell everybody what they should do and what they shouldn't do. The one thing I would say to them is support the team, get there, get behind them, support them when you're in that stadium, whatever stadium you go to, give them that support, because that is the thing that moves mountains for you. That's what happened last week. A simple thing at Kilmarnock, late in the game, people talk about scoring goals late. That's what pushes you, that's what gives you energy, and that's what Celtic need. And I agree with Martin on that. And I seen that, you could sense it in the game. The game just started off, you could just think the players' shoulders sort of slumped as the balls come on. Because the fans were up, everyone, the noise for the Stuttgart fans, it was great, and it was really, really difficult.
Here's a bit more from Martin O'Neill on it.
I've just said in another interview there on TV, but I just said anybody who thinks that's a good idea needs their heads examining. Really, got to say it, really is. You can imagine what I've been a manager here at this football club when teams like Juventus were scared stiff coming. Scared stiff. There was a cause that embraced players, managers, and crowd and everything, the whole thing. And that there is that. Can you imagine being a Stuttgart player now, thinking coming on, you're on 5 or 6 minutes, you're worried about the crowd. The atmosphere to begin with was fantastic, really, and then suddenly that happens. One, it disrupts the game for a start, obviously. And secondly, if I'm a Stuttgart player, I'm thinking, don't feel too bad here. Don't feel too bad, instead of being intimidated by the situation and things like this here. It's not. And, that helps no one.
Barry, what would you say about, for example, Paulo Bernardo, whom Gary mentioned? He didn't really get into the game. What did you see?
He's not a lot of football, Paul. It's tough when you're coming into it's certainly a European game, coming up against a very good Stuttgart team. I thought when I seen the lineup and when I sat down to watch the game, I thought he was always liable to struggle a wee bit because he's not up to match speed. I actually think he's a good player, Bernardo. I do. But you feel for him because obviously he's not had many minutes. And I agree with what Martin O'Neill says. If you think about it in terms of the protest, Stuttgart, albeit they're a very good team and they play in front of big support every single week, they're probably thinking, right, this place, they've read up about it, they've spoke to people about it, saying this is intimidating. And then when that happens after the first minute, they're thinking, this place is gone. Yeah. Then they feel comfortable. You're just played into Stuttgart's hands with doing what you've done in the first minute. If you want to protest, do it well before the game or do it after the game, not during the game.
Peter, what about Paulo Bernardo then? So to analyse it, what did you see?
I'm a big supporter, Paul.
Yes.
I know he's not had a lot of game time. I think he's a very good player, actually. I think the team's not suited him. Listen, I could go through the team and say who's played above average this year. It'd be very difficult. Yeah. And every time he's been flung in, I think it's been a difficult time. And I don't think he's been given a run. I think predominantly if he starts, he gets taken off at half time. Or he's gotten on for 20 minutes. And it's never easy. And I think he's a very, very good player. If Celtic lose him or he moves away, and the boy's done his interviews and he's been very, I understand, I've got to fight for my position, I understand that. I don't see him training every day. So that's the only thing. I don't see him training every day. But I watch him and I've always been impressed with him, the way he goes about his business. He's the only one that could fill in for Callum McGregor if Callum McGregor wasn't there. I think he's the only one that can play that role if he's not there. I just think, I was talking about last night, and I'm not jumping on Kasper Schmeichel here, but they were playing out for the back. Trusty would give it, then they would give it to Scales, then they would play it back, then it'd be a rushed kick. So you've got all your midfield back because they think they've got to go and join the play, but then it gets launched to the front man, it gets knocked down. Your players are 25, 30, 40 yards away.
And Chavanchara was the only one.
So it's important. Barry will tell you he's a midfield player. There is nothing worse. At least if you say beforehand, listen, everything we're going to kick, we're going to put it in there, make sure you're on second balls. At least that's a tactic.
Why don't they do that?
He was very isolated last night.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
The boy up top.
But I felt the Dundee game, Barry. I felt the thing that I'm noticing in the last couple of games, Dundee at home in the Cup and Kilmarnock the first half, the opposition's backline could play with their slippers on to lift their head and look forward. We were always told, make sure the opposition can't lift their head, especially at Celtic Park. You go in there, you make sure they cannot lift their head and put easy balls forward. I'm watching it's too easy for them because the team are going so deep to start the play, Paul. Especially when they were playing 4 up last night, really, to stop Celtic playing. Then the two midfielders were in on top of the midfield. Then they would launch it, and Barry's 100% right. Big Thomas is up there on his own. If the ball drops down, they've got control again, and they look a very good side because of it. You know, they're a good side. They're not a great side.
Not a great side.
You know, that's the difference. But they looked a great side last night.
Gary Noah's been on. He was at the game and he said actually Celtic were at their best when they were playing forward, but there wasn't enough of it. They were pinned back, and a lot of it was of their own making. The way they knocked the ball about at the back, and it's only they had 5 players, as you just said, who were over them.
They set traps Stuttgart last night.
Yeah,
that's what they've done. I mean, I agree with Granty that they're a good team. They're not a top team, but they knew what way Celtic were going to play, take chances at the back. They just set traps and then bang, they pounced on them.
Paul, can I make a point here? Sure. Barry's sitting there, and this is how Barry, before the cup final, I think I've spoken about it before. We played Arsenal in the cup final and we said Barry wants the ball all the time.
Birmingham City.
And the players would always give Barry it. You'd always give him it. And we're saying, you've got him all week. We worked on, Big Alec had come up and said, listen, we missed Barry out, and we'd Zigic up front. But we had 2 runners at the side of Barry, and you know, who could run, and 2 wide players who could run. But they knew the ball was going forward then. So everybody would go, Arsenal would go after Barry, we'd miss Barry out, and all of a sudden they were the opposite side. So it was a tactic. So it suited the players we had. Barry wasn't happy, and I'm sure if we'd have lost the cup final, he'd have been fuming. You know, because he said, you should have played through me. But he bought into the tactic. But the players knew what they were doing. And that's what I'm saying. They were expecting us to play through Barry, but we didn't. We went that way. And that's why I thought some of the decision making with Kasper giving it out to Liam Scales and Austin Trusty, who I think is going through a tough time anyway. And I'm thinking, wow. Then he's passing it to Arojo. And all Stuttgart done was make Celtic go back. Didn't matter whether it was their wide players or fullbacks. They were pushing, they go and go back the way. That was the only thing they needed to do.
Gary, what would you do for Sunday, team-wise?
Honestly, he's got to somehow mix it up. But obviously we've got to keep going strong because we've got to keep fighting for this league title. I think, if I'm being honest, I probably would drop Schmeichel. I think, do you know what? I like Schmeichel, but I think he's had more than one kind of bad game in him this season. I think most weeks, probably in the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's had a howler most games. And I think it's not, something's clearly not right with him. And something, whether it's an injury issue, whether it's an age issue, whatever it is. But he's got to maybe just get dropped and rested and maybe work on something. I don't see Martin O'Neill doing it, judging by the way he kind of had his arm around him last night. And listen, I do not condone booing any Celtic player.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I thought it was disgraceful to Celtic fans. Yeah, listen, as I say, he didn't have the best of games last night. He had a howler, but so did 10 other players in that Celtic.
Exactly, he wasn't alone
last night.
Yeah. Well, Martin, who was asked afterwards,
so
I'll come back in a second. He was asked last night, are you going to drop Kasper Schmeichel for Sunday?
You're asking me a question here on Thursday night, so who knows what might happen at the end of it all. All I would say is Kasper Schmeichel's had, I'm quite sure, I can't say that I followed every single match he's ever played, but he's played so many games. He's had some dips in his time, and he's come roaring back. Sinicello's played in my time here. He has played games. Kasper Schmeichel has done exceptionally well for me in my time here.
Elsewhere, Sriracha, you'd bring him in. Hatate, is he going to do it for you again, do you think? I see Martin O'Neill spoke about him and said, look, no, you don't think so? Checked out?
I think like Dyson Maida, I think his head's just gone. I think he's not interested anymore. I know Martin was talking about he had a word with him, he's going to knuckle down and X, Y and Z. I just don't see it anymore. I think Dyson, you seen him last night, he was just running about chasing balls like a headless chicken. He was just using his pace. Most of the times he was giving away fouls. So for me, as I said, I'd probably start with Taneki and Yang and Sunday. I don't really mind Big Shranchara. I don't think he's had a proper go at it yet. And I'd like to see a wee bit more service into a wee bit of height into the box to give him a better chance of tucking those goals away kind of thing. But yeah, for me, as I say, I'd probably give Tierney a rest, give Sriracha a go, and as I say, just change up the midfield a wee bit.
Because Barry, it's a massive game for Celtic. Because any slip up at home against Hibs, people say, "Oh, that's it." They're tired, they're done.
Yeah, and listen, Hibs will fancy their chances coming to Celtic Park. But it's crazy when you say that. Maeda and Hatate, they're two Celtic's best players, but they're clearly no in top form at this moment in time. So it'll be interesting to see what team selection Martin O'Neill goes with on Sunday, because they need to win the game, plain and simple.
Maeda down the right. It's not his best enemy, Peter, is it?
I've said that, Paul. There's one position for Maeda and it's left. And that's not to create. And Tanekti's better at him. He takes people on. There's no doubt of that in my mind. Of that, that's his best position as a left. You can't play him on the right hand side. And listen, Martin knows a lot better than me. He watches him training. But I must admit, I thought McCowan, I thought Inihacho, I thought Hatate even last night when he came on. I thought all of the Yang, all had an effect in that wee period. They were all better.
Yang had a go, didn't he?
But Yang was very positive in that. And listen, he's a lot of criticism, but he's been very good for a period of time now when he plays under Martin. And he goes on the outside and inside the box. If you remember, just after he came on, he made a great run and cut it back. So Martin's got to pick his best team. Yeah. Martin's got to think there and say, and in his best team, Kasper Schmeichel's his best goalkeeper. He has to stick by Kasper Schmeichel.
Is that what you would say?
100%. Okay. If he's your best goalkeeper, you keep him in goals.
Do you think there is an injury problem? It's maybe unfair because we don't know.
I genuinely think, Paul, yes.
On the left side.
But I think last night when he's went for that one, he's tried to shovel that away. He's got to save that. Yeah. I think he'll look back on that and say that's a mistake. Yes, I think he has got a problem, and maybe I'm 100% wrong, but you can just tell. But he's made some brilliant saves at important times for Celtic in games they've went on to win. As I say, Celtic goalkeepers have to do. If he's your number one goalkeeper, and there's no doubt in my mind he is Celtic's number one goalkeeper, he stays in the team.
Gary, what's your scoreline? What do you think?
Probably Celtic 2-1.
2-1, and Rangers to win it, Livy?
Again.
Yep.
Yeah. I think, as I say, when Livy come to play us, I think Merlin Bartley kept the shape really well. I thought they played really well, but ultimately I don't see them getting anything on Sunday.
And Hearts to win, do you think, tomorrow against Falkirk?
Yeah. I know they want to come back after losing at Ibrox last week. So yeah, I think it'll be really interesting running. But for me right now, I don't see us being favourites or anywhere near winning the title.
Who do you think it's going to be, Hearts or Rangers?
Well, if it's not us, hopefully Hearts. But to be honest, I still hope we can turn it round. I know we're the form team, as everybody says, but we're not playing like we're the form team, to be honest.
Gary, Barry's not having it. We're taking a quick break. We're back in a few moments. Thanks.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Yeah, we kick off tonight in the Championship. Raith Rovers against St Johnstone in a good game. Tomorrow, Arbroath against Dunfermline, Ayr against Ross County, Partick Thistle against Airdrie, and Queen's Park against Morton. We love our Friday night football. Peter, will you be watching that one?
Yes, I sure will, Paul. I'm looking forward to it. St Johnstone, I've been really impressed with them. I thought they've done really good signings in the window as well. I think they'll be very, very difficult to catch. And Partick Thistle have done brilliant.
They have.
And Ayr United have a couple of important results. But then Morton's result against Dunfermline last week was a big
2-0,
surprise. I expected Dunfermline to go and win that. But now they're on the edge of the playoffs as well.
Yeah. Barry, who do you fancy for Raith Rovers St Johnstone tonight?
I think St Johnstone will win that game. I think they've got the strongest squad in the league. I'm sure Partick Thistle will take them right to the death, but I said at the start of the season, I just fancied them. I just think he built a good squad in the summer, and he's added again in the January window. So I think they'll be far too strong for Raith Rovers tonight.
Partick Thistle, though, have done so well, haven't they, under Mark Wilson?
They've had a brilliant season, and I would imagine their budget's not great. As I said, I think they'll chase St Johnstone as much as they can, but I just don't think they'll get to them.
Peter, Partick Thistle.
I think they've been outstanding because I said it many times, Paul. I've seen the first game of the season, I had a wee bit of concern when St Johnstone beat them 5, but it was going on 10 in that particular match. And Mark's done brilliant because the one thing he's done well, when he's had not had such a good result, then he's had a great result. And that's making a good team. And you've got to give the players credit along with Mark and Alex. They've done a fantastic job there, and it can't have been easy because Brian Graham was such a big player for Thistle for so many years, and a big option for them. But they've managed to find a different way. And they've done a phenomenal job, actually, more than anything else.
Barry, what about the chat that's on the wires today saying Rangers are set to open contract talks with Nico Raskin, the Belgian international? But, he's still in contract for quite some time, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I think he's got another 2 seasons after this season, Paul. I've always said I think he is Rangers' biggest asset still. It's been a bit up and down from this season, but now he's starting to motor a wee bit. Scored a good goal last week against Motherwell, where he's really dangerous when he breaks forward. Then Danny Rowe changed the system, and he was more like an anchor in the middle of the pitch. And I thought he kind of controlled it along with Chuck Wani. So maybe they're just protecting their asset, Rangers.
Fatten up the contract.
Because I'm sure there'll be clubs looking at Nico. He's a Belgium international. As I said, he's got all the attributes you would want in a midfielder. But I don't know what truth's in it, if I'm being honest with you. I just do know that he's got another 2 years after.
He must get some buzz when he scores, because we talk. I know last year you said about being a number 6, more defensive, and I think you said to him, "Look, want you further up the park," and he's so effective.
Yeah, listen, it's good for a midfield. It's good as a midfielder, that you can play various positions. He can play in the anchor position, but also I just feel, and you'll probably not like me saying this, I feel he's more effective further forward. I really do. He's a strong runner. He makes good runs. He's a good finisher. But as I said, Danny Rowe's used him in as the anchor and further forward. So it's always good to have different attributes when you play central midfield. But it'll be interesting to see if this is true. But I do believe that there'll be interest in the summer in Nico. There'll be no doubt about that.
What about Chermiti? He'll long remember last weekend scoring.
Well, it's funny we were talking about Sinchara up top. I thought he was isolated. I thought last week against Motherwell, Chermiti was isolated. Then you go to the game against Hearts on the Sunday, Nadiri played up top with him. I thought they get closer to him as well. We would get crosses into the box. You get more, you get fed more balls, and he scored a hat-trick. Now, he's done it in big games against Celtic and Hearts. Now you have to put to him, listen, let's go and see that on a more regular basis, because he's got very good attributes, Chinmeaty. He's big, strong, powerful. His work rate is very good. He's shown that he can finish. He just needs to do it, as I mentioned there. He just needs to do it on a regular basis.
Peter, he was asked, the manager was asked, can Chermiti kick on?
Yeah, of course, as a striker, you always want to score. I think he always tried to score. He comes in fantastic situations also before. I think this was always for me very important that he has these moments, and now it's about be clinical. I think against Hearts he had a fantastic day. That was really outstanding. Also good assist before. Yeah, and I think back to the cross ball from Scoff, for example. I think that was great to see. And now it's also about in these games. I think in the second half of the season you cannot speak about small games. Every game is important because it's after this game it's less games to go. And I think this is what we have to understand. Not just Joseph, it's general a big part now.
No, listen, it's great to see two strikers playing together, Paul. Yeah. I've always said it. I think there's a big place for that. And I think Celtic may be something they have to look at. You know, you've got Iniacho if he's coming back and fit with Tomas or Adamu. That gives them an opportunity to do that. So we're talking about putting three in midfield. It may be the fact that you're going to end up having two, because I think Iniacho could play that little deeper one, though, be the striker but drop in because he's got that talent to do that. But whether he's fit enough to continue to do that. But Rangers have done it really well, because what I watched last week, if he was at times, and maybe Barry will correct me if I'm wrong here, but I always used to see him running away into a channel as if, well, you're never going to score out there. And especially if you're the only one striker, but they still had Nadiri through the middle. So it still gave you another option to hit another striker.
That's the key, Granty, because see, against Hearts, he does like to run the channels, but also he likes to drop deep. So when he's dropping deep, there's nobody up front, but when he had a partner, Nadiri was up top and he could go into areas, or if he was wanting to run the channels, as Granty just says, there was always somebody central.
Yeah. And I think it makes a hell of a difference. And I think I was watching Chavara last night, or I call him Thomas, but he was running wide.
Big Tam.
But as I say, there was nobody in the middle. So even if you're setting it back for a cross, there is nobody in the middle then if he's out the middle. And that is a problem, because you're dragging midfielders back because the midfield was so deep. So there's a place for that, and definitely for me, especially as Celtic and Rangers. And I think that it also allows you to put more pressure on the back line. You know your job. If your two wide players push up and your two strikers push up, how's the opposition going to play out? They're going to kick it long. And if the people always used to say, if the ball's in there, you could play Brazil. If the ball's in there, it's a 50-50. You know what I mean? So it's common sense. You know what I mean? And then drop back in quickly. That's your job. If the ball goes beyond you, get back in. And I just think too many people are frightened of that now. The cross balls, still the best ball in football for me to score goals, but you need people in the middle area, and I think that's what Rangers have done very well in the last few weeks.
He's on fire tonight, unlike his team last night, isn't he? He certainly is. Score predictors coming up at 6:20 with Sheffield Timber, but this is the Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. We're back after the news.
Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Well, the Celtic hangover continues after losing 4-0 last night against Stuttgart in Martin O'Neill's 1000th game in football, which is remarkable, isn't it, for Martin O'Neill? But there were protests less than a minute into the game. There was some booing of Kasper Schmeichel, who did have a bit of a howler. It wasn't his best night. In fact, it was probably one of his poorest. But Martin O'Neill did what you would expect from a manager. Said, look, we probably wouldn't have been in this competition if it wasn't for what he did against Feyenoord some weeks ago in the tournament. Well, in fact, his last time round, wasn't it? It's a while ago.
Yeah, but even in that, Paul, even in league matches, he said some wonderful saves. Let's not get away from that. And yes, he does frustrate you at times, and he does things. He makes decisions that beggars belief, actually, for his experience. That's what annoys me, because he seems one of the ones, you know, if he makes a mistake, whether it's passing or whatever, He's determined to show, no, I can do that. And that's not the right way to do it. You just sell yourself down, organise your team. Because I would hate to be Kieran Tierney at times, because sometimes he hits that swinging ball and it's bounding up round about his neck and you've got people coming closing you down. And you're thinking, that's not good play. That's not good play. So for me at times, yes, he does make wrong decisions, especially with the experience he's got. And definitely in the game last night, at important periods, I felt with his distribution and obviously the couple of the goals you thought are questionable. I'm not a goalkeeper, so I'd never be critical of it. But watching it, I'd think I'd be really disappointed if I was the manager and that was my goalkeeper. But I understand Martin's support, and I agree 100%. For me, he would be starting. He's your starting goalkeeper. He's your number one, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, who would be a goalkeeper?
Indeed. It must be the hardest thing and the loneliest thing as well.
Well, you knew that, did you not, Paul? Well, you were a man for Subbuteo.
I may have been the goalkeeper at the primary school. Yeah, I may have been.
You and the great Mark Guidi.
But he was a real keeper. He made it to the...
No, he's steady.
He did. Steady. Barry, for the coefficient, I haven't mentioned it yet so far, but yet again, the Scottish coefficient, dive, isn't it? It's not good.
No, it's not good. And last night, getting into the game, Celtic getting into the game against Stuttgart, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, they're a good team, but they didn't frighten me. Yeah. But I just thought everything that went on with the protest, it just played into their hands. And obviously you could see it affected the players on the pitch, but Stuttgart just stepped it up a level, and I just thought they were very easy winners in the night. Yeah,
they're not Bayern Munich, and that's just a year and a week it was since that game. But listen, that's history. You do wonder what Celtic are going to do. It's going to be...
He's getting you a bit, isn't he?
Is he? What?
No, I just mentioned about the goalie. That was it.
Oh, that exactly. He loves that, doesn't he? Yeah.
But you were a goalie. You told us that.
Funny way to resent. Never tell professional footballers, no matter how good they were, and these two were, of course. Yeah, I'm not putting you in the same bracket, both of you.
I'm surprised you're not fired back.
Do you know what?
Just had enough.
Oh, you're not allowed to boo me on the programme either.
Exactly. But listen, it's been lovely working with you, Peter. So yeah. Right. Let's hear Martin O'Neill. We're going to move on. Get predictions shortly. In fact, someone will be on with us to give us his predictions, and he could win £1,000 if he gets it right. Brilliant. I know. Right, here's Martin O'Neill. What about that booing? He was asked about it afterwards.
I genuinely did not. I was asked that question in there, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that. All I will say is, if we played Feyenoord in a game that we probably had to win, and I think it was 1 each at the time, and he made an unbelievable save. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here playing tonight. So anyway, this is a team game, and we'll all have to deal with it.
Here's Dave on the line, a Celtic fan in Thurso. Hi, Dave. Good evening.
Evening, Paul. Hi, Boy. Hi, Peter. How are we doing, boys?
Evening, Dave.
Yeah, good. Dave? Thank you. What can you cast on last night? What would you say? What's your perspective? You've watched Celtic for many, many years.
Well, to be honest, I kind of came on to speak with the Green Brigade,
Okay.
Paul.
Yep.
I mean, the Green Brigade do a lot of fantastic work, and the Celtic supporters are the first ones to shout loud and proud of it. Mm-hmm. But there are times they don't do themselves any favours, and I think now they need to, give a bit. They seem to want to take the moral high ground.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, Dave. We're going to call you back on another line, because that's a poor line. Martin O'Neill was asked after the game, and it must be tough being a manager after a heavy defeat, but he's really experienced. He was asked about where his club is in Europe. So where are Celtic at the moment compared to what it was before?
I think it's very, very difficult, obviously. We were travelling away from home at the time. Our focus at this minute will have to be Sunday. Sunday is most important for us. This is something I've just said in a couple of interviews there, that in time Celtic will be able to compete deep into European competitions. It's just that it's not there at this minute. That's fine. And when I asked the question, why did I think this here? That the money in the game is major. You're talking about Premier League teams, your Bundesliga sides, particularly Premier League teams paying £80 million for players don't even get into the team. So that's what you're competing against. It's a difficult one here at this minute, but that's for another day. That's another conversation. What I wanted to do is just say that disappointing night for us. We've conceded some poor goals, and it's a long way back, obviously. But we're at least, yeah, it's okay.
You can hear how exasperated he is about it all. Peter, what do you think of that? What's your perspective on Celtic in Europe?
I agree with some of it, Paul. But I've got to look at it the other side, because I mentioned it months ago about Bruges.
Yep.
You've got to look at Bruges. Yep. And I watched them the other night against Atletico Madrid, and it was a brilliant game, 3-3. And I look at them, obviously they sell £80 million worth, I think it was, of players in the summer. And they spent 40 million of that. And they'll obviously bring young players through as well. So that's going to be, they look a very good side, and they're constantly in the Champions League, playing against the best teams. You look at Bodo Glimt, the results they've had this year have been phenomenal, you know. So, listen, Martin's in a different era for the group of players that he had, you know. Listen, Celtic have some very good players at this moment in time, but Martin had great players, you know, right round that group, but men. He talked about the power. You look at that team last night, physically, you know, they were much stronger in Celtic. And we talk about Maeda never get a kick because the boy just went against them. Tonekti found it difficult. He's always getting pushed back. But they were physically, I'm not saying they were technically brilliant, but they were a big physical side. And I'm going to say this, I look at it as a German side, and that's what I'm beginning to see what Rangers are doing. Danny Rowe, you see the profile of the players that he's bringing in are more physical, taller, you know, because they know, listen, we could be nip and tuck in a game, defend, as long as we defend well, we maybe have a good set play delivery, and we've got big guys that can defend them, and we can get big guys that can attack them in the opposition box. And if you get that combination right, and that's what I would say about Stuttgart last night, but I agree with Martin, it's a completely different era for he'd had the first time, but I think we've got to be careful on the fact that saying spending money, and this don't spend that. You look at Bruges, and I think they're a prime example for anybody.
Dave, hopefully you'll be back on the moment. James will let us know when we get him. Barry, what would you say on that?
He makes some valid points, but I think you can still build a team that can be competitive, certainly against teams like Stuttgart. And I don't think Celtic were competitive last night, and they made some silly mistakes. And if you make silly mistakes against good teams, they're going to punish you, and that's what I thought Celtic did last night. But Grant is right, you can build teams with not a lot of money, and I know we've not got the money that the English Premier League have got, or the Bundesliga have got, but there's still good players out there that you can bring in and make you a decent team that can be competitive against these clubs from, whether it be the Premier League or the Bundesliga or the Spanish League or the Italian League. So I just thought overall last night, sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and say Stuttgart were better.
Joe Hart said in commentary last night, and you know his affection for the club, the Celtic fans love him. He said they were passive. And he didn't say this, but some in the commentary, some others said it. They were outclassed all over the pitch, quality, heart and desire. The Germans seemed to have more of it last night. And Celtic Park, the fear factor is from a bygone era. That's the atmosphere, the 12th man.
Yeah, on last night, Paul.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I'm not saying that's a bygone era. That's Celtic Park's a real difficult place for anybody to play when you're united and you're not having what's going on at this moment in time. There is absolutely no doubt of that. That'll never change because the Celtic fans will always demand that.
So is that a wake-up call to the fans and the club to try and get this resolved?
Well, I think you look at in two incidents, we can name the two incidents, similar incidents happened. Dundee away, lost. Stuttgart last night, lost.
Heavily.
And it's really, really difficult. When people ask about players, and obviously it does affect you, Paul. You could just sense there was a drop of the shoulders. The atmosphere got sucked out a little bit. Some of the fans round about weren't happy with what was going on anyway. And all that. So all of a sudden, instead of being united, even in the stadium at that time, there's a wee bit of fractions, you know what I mean? And that's a difficulty because you will only survive, no matter who you are in life, if you're all together and unified, if you're pushing the one way. That's what you need. And I know I can understand the frustrations of the supporters and that in the summertime. I understand all that 100%. But use it in a different way. I don't know what way. I'd be great if I could get in there and say this, do that, and it worked.
Yeah. Would it affect you, Granny?
Yes. I would, Baz. I must admit, because I think you're on the pitch and you know you're wanting to play at your best, but let me tell you, see when you've got the fans behind your back and it's just pushing you that extra yard, and I know we didn't need it because we were slightly different. You're a Rangers man, I'm a Celtic man, in the respect to that, and that pushed us anyway. But it affected us because you were disappointed because there was not that connection. I remember when obviously the last takeover.
I'll be honest with you, I think you need your fans.
Absolutely,
and when
100%.
you've got a connection for the stands onto the pitch, I always say it, you're halfway to being a successful team. There's no doubt in my mind you need the fans.
Well, why do you think all the other teams have banned Celtic and Rangers fans to go into the away games?
Well, sure.
And I'll make a good example. See Sunday at Ibrox, the atmosphere was absolute electric. And I'm convinced, look, Rangers were good and they were better than Hearts, but I'm convinced it gave the Rangers players that extra bit because the fans were right behind them. Even when they went a goal down, they come back. They went 2-1 down, they come back because the fans got right behind them. And I think it makes a hell of a difference when you've got that.
Dave,
and it's clear that's...
Well, look at the difference between the start of the season, Baz.
Aye.
You know, there's night and day.
Yeah, sure.
So it tells you how much the support is massive. And as I said, look at the opposition. They're trying to keep Celtic Rangers fans away from their stadiums.
Yeah, for a reason.
100%.
Sure.
apart from Livingston.
Livingston. And I tell you what, it's the best
on
away ground atmosphere-wise.
It is.
You know, let's not kid ourselves. That's
And
fact.
Livingston are no daft. Livingston are saying, right, we're not going to sell. We can only sell one standout. Let's bring a bit of cash in.
You're going to be there on Sunday?
I'll be there, yep.
Yeah. Peter, you'll be there?
Yes,
on
100%.
Sunday? You're going to Livy? No, you'll be at the Celtic game only. And Barry will be at Livy. Listen,
Who's
Dave.
playing against Livy?
Dave, the line is terrible. The weather's really bad up north. It's been non-stop rain and snow. So we can't get him back on. Is there anything you can say to him, though? He was mentioning about the Green Brigade, saying they've done a lot of good things, but some of the things it's far too much, isn't it? Is there anything you can say just now? I know you don't have the magic wand.
No, I just said, Paul, all I'll cry out for unity in that respect. And I can understand fights for both sides in the respect of that. I understand that. And listen, this has been a real... Consider Celtic in the position. If Martin O'Neill wins the league this year, this is his best league ever. Without a shadow of a doubt. Considering there's been 4 managers at Celtic Football Club, if you imagine Martin being there twice. You've had Brendan and Wilfred Nancy. And Barry's talking about affecting players. That's different tactically. If anybody, Martin's man management is unbelievable. I'm not saying anything about his tactics, about man management with players and trying to support his players is brilliant at that. He's done it with superstars. And then Brendan was a different type of manager. Wilfred Nancy obviously had a difficult time, to say the least. And it just shows you how important that unity is with the players, the supporters. Paul, it moves mountains. And there's no going to be, and that's all I would say for the unity, for the team. Because if the team is going to, that's the only way the team are going to go over that finishing line in first place, is if they're going to be unity at the football club.
Barry, if that did happen, if Celtic win the title, would you agree it would be Martin O'Neill's biggest achievement? His best title?
Yeah, possibly, because he obviously done well in his first, when he was in charge interim firstly, the first time, and obviously what happened when Wilfred Nancy came in, it went pear-shaped. They were clearly struggling and he's come back in and he's got results. Look, I think if you ask him in terms of the way they've played, they've not been great to watch, but they found a way domestically to get the results, and at the end of the day that's what it's all about. So I think if you ask Martin O'Neill that question, he would probably say it would be probably his biggest achievement. But hopefully that doesn't happen.
I was waiting for you to say that. So I don't know what the bookies are saying at the moment, because despite it all...
Listen, I'll say what I said 4 weeks ago. I think this is going down to the wire.
Right.
I do.
Still?
I still believe it.
And actually, Peter, you made a good point. You know, we've got the stats here. We know Hearts on 57, Rangers on 55, Celtic on 54. Celtic's record, they've got the 2 wins, then a draw, 2 wins. Yeah?
Yep.
Hearts... a win, a draw, a win, a loss, and a win. Yeah?
Yep.
And for Rangers, 2 wins, draw, win, draw, and then obviously the win at the weekend over
I mean, there's
Hearts.
good examples. Like last week, I was at Fir Park, and it's a sore one to take. And you're going driving home, and then you're thinking, 5 points cleared. Then you think, 3 days later, league leaders are coming. Make sure you get a result. What happens? Rangers get a result, and deservedly so. And they're only 2 points behind.
I'd have loved it. I'm going to ask Barry a question here because I've never seen him. What was the atmosphere like just before the game kicked off when Celtic get the winner?
Do you know
I'd love to have been there.
Do you know what? I actually got up. I was dining with 10 guests, and I got up. I'm just going to the toilet, and I looked, and it was 96 minutes. And I'm thinking, right, it's over. got back to the toilet and the room was silent.
There was no
And I
TV.
it was ripped off the wall. No, there was silence, and I knew right away as soon as I opened the door. I'm like, I've scored. But
It's some season.
there's going to be so many more twists and turns.
Absolutely. I agree.
Twists and turns all
But
the
I
way.
think it's key. Whoever goes in top of the league, when it comes to the split,
It's going to be
it could be the champions.
right. Okay, so yeah, it could well be. Listen,
Good, well.
yeah, over at Rangers, Barry, with some of the news today. When's Connor Barron going to be back? Danny Rule was asked this afternoon.
I think next week he could be in the part of the training session. Yeah, and then it looks good. He push. Hopefully, because everything well now. Then maybe in 2-3 weeks as well, like Derek.
Doing well without him at the moment, but I know how much you and the Rangers fans love
Listen,
him.
he was fantastic, Paul. See, before he got the injury, he was a real driving force in the middle of the pitch. He was probably one of the first names in the team sheet. That's how good he was becoming. And it was just a bit of bad luck. He gets the knee injury. Obviously, Chukwue's come into his position, and I've been really impressed with Chukwueze. I really like him. And I still think there's more to come from him as well. He's different. He's a different type to what they've got. I know he's big and physical and he's good at breaking play up, but also he's a good football player. Keeps the ball well, and I really like what I see from Chukwueze.
He was also asked about defender Cornelius. What's the latest?
Yeah, he started yesterday with the first session with the team. Not everything, but part of the session was a good step. I think in the next 2 weeks we make a step forwards.
Barry?
Yeah, it's they're coming back at the right time. There's real competition for places, Paul. That's what you want at this stage of the season, where you need to make sure you're on your mettle and playing at the top of your form, because if you're not, you'll be out the team and somebody will step back in.
Who's going to win this title? Who's going to win this weekend? £1,000 up for grabs if you can get 6 results right. That's what we're going to do after this.
Go Radio Score Predictor with Shawfield Timber. With decades of experience, they are Glasgow's specialist timber merchant.
They sure are. Think you can predict the weekend's SPFL results? We're going to give you the chance to take on our score predictor with Shawfield Timber. And you tonight is Ross, a Rangers fan who could win £1,000. Hi Ross, good evening.
Hello, gents. How are we?
Good evening, Ross. Is that 2 hellos there, Ross? Come on.
What did you say that? I didn't hear you.
No, he didn't. Don't indulge these two. Peter Grant, Barry Ferguson. Great banter. Yeah,
I loved it.
I enjoyed it, Barry. No, you gave a double hello, and Barry's quite happy. Listen, Ross, welcome to the programme. You know how it's going to work. All you have to say is either a win, a loss, or a draw. If you get them right, you're going to get £1,000 on Monday. Where are you, Ross? Whereabouts in Glasgow?
I'm in Maryhill.
Maryhill Juniors. Yeah. Do you,
Thistle as well. Doing
the Thistle, of course, the Harry Rags.
Thistle's local, aye.
Of course. Do you ever pop in just to see Alec Ray?
I used to, but not now.
Not now.
Not
Okay,
now, but Matt Wilson's in charge.
Oh, steady.
Aye.
He's doing well. Ross, do you get to the Rangers games?
Not much. I just watch them. I just watch them in the house, to be honest. It's just
Sure.
cold, isn't it?
What do you do work-wise?
I'm currently not working now.
Okay. So,
That's £1,000.
£1,000.
Take
Come
it
on,
down.
come on.
That's
Right.
Get
Perfect,
down.
wasn't it?
Lovely.
Perfect, pal.
Ross, we're motivated for you. We've come close the last couple of weeks, but it's quite hard. Nobody's won it yet, but our friends at Shawfield Timber, they've got the £1,000 there, and it would be great if you win it. So, Ross, we're going to go through it. We'll hear bits from some of the managers, and then we'll chat to you as well about Rangers and some other things. Scotland as well in the World Cup. There's going to be a Rangers player maybe with another new contract. Barry, can we? Liam Kelly, I see it there in the Sun online. They're saying could be a new contract, an extension. I think it finishes in the summer for the Rangers.
His contract's up in the
Yeah.
summer. Liam, listen, whenever he's been called upon, I think he's done a fantastic job for Rangers. You know what you're getting. Brilliant professional. Brilliant round about the dressing room. And I think it would be a no-brainer for him to get a new contract.
It's quite a big character, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, great
yeah.
boy. I was really impressed with him. Just his character and his personality round about the place. But also, Paul, he's a very good goalkeeper. Liam.
And he'd love to go to the World Cup. Obviously, he's still in the mix, isn't he? Yep. Okay, we're going to kick off Aberdeen against Dundee, Ross. So let's think. Peter, who do you fancy for this one? And look, would love him to get £1,000.
Well,
so
I'm going to go for
advice.
Aberdeen 2-1.
Right. Okay. You think they're back on it now after the cup win? Yeah. Barry, what do you feel?
I'm going to go the opposite. I think Dundee will beat Aberdeen at Pittodrie.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Ross, what do you think?
Aberdeen to win.
You're going to go for Aberdeen. Okay. What about Dundee United against Kilmarnock? John Beaton is in charge. Let's hope there's no...
That could be anything.
Better ask VAR.
No VAR controversy. Barry, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go an away win, Kilmarnock.
Away win? You're going
I've
for
been
the
impressed by Kilmarnock.
Aye. Yeah, what do you like about them?
I just think he's got the motor a bit. You can clearly see the confidence is really high. It's a big job for Neil and Dodgy to take, but I think the players believe in what they're trying to implement, and I think they'll go to Tannadice and get the 3 points.
That was one of those questions. James, can we take it out in the podcast? You know, what do you like about Kilmarnock, apart from the fact it's two of your best friends that are running them?
No, listen, I would be honest, I've watched them since I've took over.
I know.
The difficult start,
Yep.
but it takes a bit of time, Grant will tell you, to get used to the way that they want to play. But yeah, I think they'll get the motor, and I think they could get away for that second bottom position.
Granty?
I will go for Dun United because I think Kilmarnock were excellent last week.
Yeah.
But I think if they've lost John Jules, who went off in the game, he's been outstanding for them. You know, and Dackers is a handful as well, don't get me wrong. I think that Kilmarnock are fantastically well coached. You can see that in the way they performed last week. But I'm going to go for Dundee United to win that game.
So Dundee United have 28 points, Killie on 20. So Ross, what do you think?
I'm going to go for a draw in that one. I'm going to split the middle here.
Yeah.
Good man.
Aye. Yeah.
Possible.
Could
Not
well
a bad
be.
shout,
No,
not a bad
yeah.
shout.
I'm just taking a note here. So you've gone for Aberdeen to win. You've gone for Dundee United and Killie to draw. Hearts against Falkirk. Ross, I'm going to throw it to you first. Listen, but it's only fair. I think James will be okay. If Ross says something and he listens to both of you, would let him change it. Yeah. If he wants to, can change his mind. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure Ross is his own man.
Oh, of course he is, right? Well, but if I was listening to you two, I would...
Start making you think.
Just desperate for him to win the bag
But
of
I tell you,
sand.
that's exactly.
Exactly. Ross, what do you feel? Hearts, Falkirk.
I'm going to go for a home win. I think Hearts will do it. It's going to be tough, but I think Hearts have managed to do it all season, so I think they can go and do it again.
Isn't it incredible how well they've been and how consistent? I know it's been difficult in the last couple of weeks, but my goodness, what do you make of Derek McInnes?
He's been brilliant this season, honestly. It's been a fresh air. I know, obviously, I want Rangers to win, but it's obviously good for Scottish football. It's been a 3-horse race, so it's been good.
And Motherwell just on the fringe of it as well. Barry, what do you think?
I'm going to go a home win. Yes.
Braga to score, is it? I don't know why I'm throwing that in. Kisaridis, maybe.
Is Devlin back?
Yeah, he's back soon, so that
And
could
Shanklin's a couple of
Sure.
weeks away. And they're getting to the business. They're getting two of probably their best players back for the business end of the season.
Yep. Peter, you going for Falkirk?
No, I'm going for Hearts.
You go for Hearts.
Hearts,
Yeah.
I think Hearts will win the game. I think Falkirk lost their centre half, I think, through suspension. I think he got sent off last week.
Yep.
And that could upset it. Sometimes that happens, Paul. So I think Hearts will bounce back, and I think Hearts will win that
So
game.
Hearts would go on 60 points ahead of Rangers playing and Celtic playing on Sunday. So Hearts would go on 60, Rangers 55, Celtic on 54. So before they get into the games. Right, so St Mirren against Motherwell. Who wants to take that one first? Barry?
I'll go an away win.
Right, you're going for the well.
Yes, I think Motherwell. He changed the team up.
Yeah.
The cup game. I just like the way. I'm just so impressed with the manager and the way that Motherwell play. Even if they go a goal down, Paul, they don't change. They keep just moving the ball at pace. They interchange with each other. I just like them as a football team, so I think Motherwell for the 3 points.
There's a statement coming out from Celtic. I'll tell you in a moment or two, following some of the incidents last night at the game from the chairman, the interim chairman, Brian Wilson. I'll tell you in a minute or two. I'll read it first. Peter. So, Barry, you're going for the well. Peter?
I'm going for the well as well. I think Stevie will have spent a lot of time how to stop Motherwell playing, and I think sometimes that can get in the way trying to score against them. So I'm going to go for Motherwell on that.
We're going for the well as well. So,
Yes.
Right, Ross, what do you feel?
I'm going to go for a away win as well. I think
Right.
Motherwell will do it.
Away win. Okay. Can you stay with us for a second? Because this is just some breaking news. You okay then, Ross?
That's fine, yep.
So, following events at Celtic Park last night, this has come out from Celtic during the match with Stuttgart. The interim chairman, Brian Wilson, has provided the following update. Brian said, last night was deeply disappointing for the club in many respects. This started with an orchestrated disruption of the game, causing a delay to an important match. Over the past 2 weeks, I have met with a range of supporters, groups and individuals. I've met in good faith with representatives of the Green Brigade and was hopeful that progress could have been made. Indeed, this remains the case. I also met in good faith with representatives of the Celtic Fans Collective. When I came into this role, I asked for unity inside the stadium, support the team, while trying to resolve other issues. I want to see suspensions lifted and differences set aside. So he's saying that he wants to see suspensions lifted. But this cannot be unconditional. Last night's disruption and the reasoning behind it illustrate the difficulty we face and have repeatedly had to contend with. Final part, this is not intended to deflect from other issues that affect the club and are fully recognised. However, the possibility of further disruptions need to be addressed urgently. Surely the priority must be to give Martin and the players every opportunity to achieve their objectives within the remainder of the season. On that basis, Brian Wilson said, I will continue to seek an end to this debilitating and unnecessary atmosphere of conflict. So he's putting out an olive branch there and saying, look, we need to get this sorted. Doesn't say what it's going to be, but you could see Martin O'Neill's face.
Well, Paul, as I said earlier, and Brian Wilson's used the word there, unity. I think it's massive. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in or what job you do. You need everybody pushing in the right direction to try and be successful at any walk of life.
Yeah.
You just need to look across the road at Rangers, the difference now to what it was at the start of the season. If you want to see anything, and that's what you don't want it to turn into, the important, but Barry touched on it, this is the time the trophies are handed out.
Yeah.
This is the time you've got to be ready to go together, and Celtic will need everyone together because the team's not playing at its best. So the one thing you do is that extra support was going to be massive for Celtic.
Sure is. We'll come back to it shortly. Ross is on the line. We're with Sheffield Timber's chance to give away £1,000. Right, so Sunday, Livy against Rangers. Ross, I'm going to go to you first. What do you feel?
Away win. I think Rangers got to do it.
What about Chermiti and Nadiri up front? You like the look of those two?
I like the look of both of them together. Yep, I don't think they could play. I don't think Jermaine could play himself, but with a partner, I think he looked much better on the game at Hearts. So
He sure did. Because I mean, it's not his fault that the club paid $8 million for him, 8 to 10 million. The manager spoke about Nadiri, who came in just the other week.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you see it in the training. I said to him, he is a little bit like Thomas Müller. Yeah, sometimes you don't know how, but he is doing the right things. I think this is it's great to play with two strikers in front helps as well. It will be not always the shape, but I think it was good. We had our wingers in good position as well. Ryan is very present, I think, against the ball, very sharp, with a good intensity, wins a lot of balls and gives us a good structure. And in the box, he is always in the right moments, and it gives a little bit more time for the other striker. I think this is the advantage from two strikers in front.
So, Peter, what do you reckon, Livy against Rangers?
Well, Rangers are comfortable, I think, Paul, there's no doubt of that. But by the way, what an accolade that's to get handed. Thomas Müller, wow, one of the best, there's no doubt of that. If he's anything like him, you've got a hell of a player in their hand.
Barry, Thomas Müller, wow.
Yeah, no, top player. I like Big Nadiri. Listen, he's came for the third tier of German football. I like what I see. Again, he's different to what Rangers have. I love his attitude. It looks to me if he's desperate to be at Rangers. So, yep, hopefully he can turn out to be a top signing. But for me, yep, I think Rangers away win.
Away win, Rangers. Scoreline, what do you reckon, Barry? Is it
2-0 Rangers?
2-0. So you've just been go easy. You're not getting carried away.
I'd take 1-0.
Yep.
Rangers play absolute honking.
Celtic against Hibs. So what's Barry? What do you reckon?
I'm going to go a draw.
Right.
I'm going to go one each.
The effects of the game just last night. Yeah. Peter?
I'm going to go Celtic 2-1 because I just think Martin's got enough in him to get these players and galvanise them in the group. And as I say, some of them have been over the course before. I know that doesn't matter a lot of times at certain things, but I just think any Acho and that can come on in the game. Have to be much better defensively. There is no doubt in my mind of that. And Hibs will look at that and try and get set plays because they've got a hell of a long throw, Hibs. It's like a cross in the box all the time. And that could cause us problems because I only see Liam Scales heading the ball defensively. And that's a big concern for me going into that game.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what way David Gray goes. Will he come and sit back and try and frustrate and try and get the fans being unhappy, or does he go for them? So it's a bit of a
I think he'll have a go at him. I think he'll have a go at him. I think he'll, if the Boyle plays, he'll try and use his pace and turn Celtic round because Celtic's centre backs are playing 30 yards in the opposition's half. Hell of a lot of space to run into, and I think he'll have a right go at Celtic. And they have done the last few times.
And from set pieces, I think Grant spot on, long through, even free kicks or corner kicks. I think Celtic looks so vulnerable.
So Barry reckons a draw. Peter reckons 2-1 Celtic.
Yes.
Ross, what do you reckon? Remember, £1,000, so you need to... What do you really think's going to happen?
See, to be honest, I don't know. I don't honestly know. I'm going to say... I'm going to go for a draw, I think.
A draw, okay.
I think I'm going to go with a draw. I think I would...
Well, Ross from Maryhill's going for Aberdeen to beat Dundee, Dundee United and Kilmarnock to draw, Hearts to beat Falkirk, Motherwell to win at St Mirren, Celtic and Hibs to draw, and Rangers to win at Livy. And of course, if those were the results, we know that the Hearts would go on 60 points and Barry Rangers would go on 58 and Celtic would stay on the 54.
Here was me hoping he was going to get £1,000. Now he said that last result there.
Who's your all-time favourite?
I would normally always settle it, convinced that Celtic would steamroller Hibs, but I'm so unsure.
Sure. Fergie time, they call it. You know, so Martin O'Neill's been exercising that. No, you reckon a draw. Who's your all-time favourite Rangers player?
Question, I'm only a young pup. I'm only 22. So
right, okay. Sure. Who would it be? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. I'm trying to think from my era sort of thing.
Stephen Davis.
I don't know.
Been a long time there.
Stephen Davis. Alan McGregor. I'll go with Alan McGregor.
Okay.
An all-time show. I've got to go with him.
Yeah.
I had one of his talks in about 2010, I think it was. So.
The last time Rangers won something.
I'm
only kidding. I'm only joking.
Peter,
We'll be far away.
Barry, what was it like to work with at the time? Did he drive you nuts sometimes?
No. Listen, brilliant work ethic. Listen, top goalkeeper. And I just think the goalkeepers knew that they were getting coached by somebody who has played at the top level. I seen him on Sunday. He was at the game. It's good to catch up with him. He was doing the commentary for Rangers TV. But as I said, Paul, I had no... people maybe question me bringing Alan McGregor in as a goalkeeping coach. It was a no-brainer for me.
You said he was first in one of the first every morning.
He was, as I said. Top goalkeeper, and I'm sure Jack Butler and Liam Kelly and all the young goalkeepers would have learned so much off him.
It's good to get players who've been there, Peter, back at the club.
Listen, the qualities that he's got, and he knows. Listen, a goalkeeper at Celtic Park or Ibrox can be the loneliest place on earth at times. You know, if you're not having a good one. We see it last night with Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah.
But the one thing, Alan McGregor, no matter where he was, with the national team, Rangers, Hull, you name it, he was an outstanding goalkeeper. There's no doubt of that. And
Ross, before you go, listen, we hope you're back on Monday night to get the £1,000.
Yep.
Barry will bring it in cash. Danny Rowe was asked today, and Barry was there at the training. Do you see a team of title winners here in the training? What do you think?
General, I think this question we will have now in the next 3 months a lot. After every result, we will think, maybe could be this team, could be this team. I'm totally convinced that it's now about consistency, who takes the most points until the split. I think this is also part. You have to prepare the final 5 games then with the next 6 games. If you do well, then you have a great opportunity, and in the final 5 games, I think everything is possible. You have the teams around you. That's crucial now. I think this 3 points now. It's massive because you can really decide it's 2, 5, or 8 points, and 2 points helps. And it looks at the moment good, but we are still not on the first position. We're still on the second position.
And young pup Ross, do you reckon it's going to be a title win for you?
Oh, it's going to go right down to the wire. That's for sure. I don't know. I would like to say so, but it's going to go down to who can do the best in the split, I think.
That's what you were both saying, for sure. Ross, thanks a million for
Cheers,
calling
Ross.
the Go Radio Football Show.
Good luck, Ross.
We'll let you know if that £1,000 from Shawfield Timber, if it's going to be yours. We'll tell you on Monday night.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Paul Cooney with Barry Ferguson and Peter Grant on the eve of the weekend. So there's only 12 to go for Celtic, 11 games for Rangers and Hearts. Hard to believe, isn't it, Barry? There'll be 10 games for Rangers after, well, in less than 48 hours' time.
Yeah, time's flying in. But it's going to be an exciting last few months of the season, Paul. I'm looking forward to it. It's, in my opinion, who can handle the pressure the best.
And Peter, that's so true, isn't it? I know you think that for Hearts it's uncharted territory for them. Actually, looking at Rangers and Celtic, lots of the players haven't been over the course. Obviously, more of the Celtic players have. At Rangers, James Tavernier, not that many that are.
I think it's a surroundings, Paul. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The fans and the expectation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you go to Rangers and Celtic, that is the expectation to be first. I think it would be a massive blow if Hearts don't win it. How many points were they in front of Rangers at one stage?
13. Is that right,
Was that the
Barry?
most?
13.
Was that the most?
Yes.
You know, that's an incredible clawback. So does it become it? But it's amazing everybody's saying it's a fantastic season for Hearts, and I understand the reason why. But to be clawed back with 13 points, and we've missed out Motherwell. Motherwell have been brilliant. You know, and listen, you're talking about the amount of games now at the split. Where do you see Motherwell losing many games?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. You know, they've got the Celtics and the Rangers and all that to play, and again, even after the split.
Well, Mark Guidi said the other night on the programme, 82 points. You know, he's always good at this. He said 82 points could win it. Now, Motherwell are on 47. If they win everything, it takes you to 83. So actually, Motherwell, you know, rank outsiders, and everyone says, oh, they'll play a significant role.
I think they will.
Yeah.
They'll have a massive
I
role.
wouldn't want to come up against Motherwell.
But both have got still to play
Even
them, haven't they?
I'm not just saying it for part away from home.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just as dangerous.
It probably suits them away from home now because of the state of the pitch. You know, you go to Ibrox, the pitch looks excellent. Celtic Park's excellent. You know,
Are they both good? Yeah.
the pitches look great, obviously.
yeah.
But you look at Motherwell's and that's bobbling. I thought maybe that'd cause them a
yeah.
problem, but it's not because they've still performed exceptionally well with it. And the players, you talk about the manager changing. He changes the personnel anyway, even in league matches to do it. You know, to adjust and to give the opposition problems. And I think that's what he does. He coaches his team to win. You know, he's not worrying about playing a Celtic or a St Mirren or Rangers or whatever. He's coaching his team to say, right, this is where I feel our strengths are going to be. And that's a great belief you're giving your players. You know, and I know it's different. People say playing for Celtic or Rangers, and that's why I'm saying there's a different pressure on Hearts now because of the fact they've been so far in front. Now they've been clawed back. And I think the next 2 games are really difficult under their own supporters. That's the problem they're going to have. Because if Rangers continue to win, if Celtic win and keep the pressure on them, all of a sudden it becomes a problem for them when they're getting into the games that they're expected to win.
But they might get a siege mentality, Barry. They might say, look, nobody thinks we're going to win it. Not really. Not out with here.
I
And
can
let's show
imagine
them.
that's what Derek's telling these players. Everybody's against us, try to fire them up. And but look, I've been impressed by them. And if you said to me at the start of the season this would be the case going into the final week of February, I wouldn't have believed you one single bit. But you've got to give them credit, Derek. You've got to give Hearts credit for going to get Derek.
Yeah, sure.
It was, people were thinking they were going to go down the form route again, but he knows the game. He's clearly a good manager, clearly a good coach, and I think his recruitment's been really good as well. And bearing in mind, they've lost their most important players. You've got Shanklin, you've got Devlin, Halkett was missing through suspension, and earlier on in the season. So, look, I don't think Hearts are going anywhere. No, I don't.
But you think Rangers are going to win it?
Yes.
Yeah. Peter, what would you say tonight? Who's going to win it?
I would say Rangers are favourites, Paul.
Okay.
I think because, as I say, they're playing with strikers who are fit and ready and firing at this moment in time. I think that's important. Celtic have not really got that.
Yeah.
Big Tamas is just getting games now after a period of time. Iniacho come on at a period last night. You know, Adamu hadn't been played for a long time, and that's your main strikers. And I always think, and I think your strikers, Paul, because see, if you look at Rangers, and Barry will maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, by all accounts, Rangers have not played well, but they've defended ever so well. But now they've got strikers that scoring goals, so that'll always make the difference, Paul. If Celtic and Rangers have always won leagues because of its strikers that score goals.
Is that fair? They played well on the Hearts game, didn't they?
They did, certainly in the second half. They played really well. But the key to being successful is when you don't play well, you find a way to win. And Rangers have certainly done that for the vast majority of time that Danny Rowe's been in charge. And I should say, Rangers have got a good chance of winning the league.
Yeah.
As I said, it's going to be a tough one to call.
Peter, you've said a couple of times, I'd say Rangers are favourites. Is that the same as saying you think Rangers will win?
No, I think they're favourites, Paul, because I mean you can never do that. And Celtic and Rangers are always going to be up there. But one of them slip up, the other one could go away from it because they live on that. And what I mean with that is, if Celtic drop points tomorrow and Sunday and Rangers win, they'll be thinking 5 points. There's no way they're catching us. That's the way they'll be thinking, and that's the mentality. And I'd be saying the exact same if it was Celtic. And that's why I can only say Rangers now because Rangers are in front of Celtic. You know, I think Hearts have got two main players coming back. I just have a funny feeling that they're going to drop points when they're not they're least expecting it.
Yeah.
Also, it's tough as well because you don't know about injuries, suspensions to key players.
With the amount of games left, you know. But I always think if Celtic and Rangers are in the hunt, coming into these periods, it's going to be one of these two that's going to do it. That's what I believe.
There's a hint there on the record online saying, it's behind the paywall, haven't seen it yet, saying that, there could be an injury at Rangers. I did wonder what Danny Rowe was saying. I want to hear this one more time. This was the team update this afternoon.
Yeah, we have to change some players. Not why I want to, I have to. We have small injuries, but I cannot go too much in details today. Who is it? But you will see, I think, on Sunday.
Maybe that's because who they're coming up against, or maybe because of the surface.
But what do you think the team will be? I think you're going to say you're not sure what he's going to do.
Well, if everybody was 100% fit and available, I wouldn't change it from Sunday.
Why would you? They've had, a week off.
But again, people might not be allowed to play in that surface because of previous injuries. Who knows? I really don't know, but what I do know is it's not going to be as easy as people think. I do think Livingston have been set up pretty solid under Marvin Bartley.
He spoke about the Livy pitch.
Yeah, I think this is also a part where we have to look. I think that influence as well the decision. But yeah, general, both teams has to play on this. We have a lot of players that have experience on this pitch as well. I will not look for the excuses or something like this. We have to take it. I think we did well in Kilmarnock on the pitch, and I think we have to do the same on Sunday.
So,
would we like to see John Suter, Baz? Would you look at Big John? Because obviously he's had a few injury problems coming back. He's not played many minutes. He obviously looks upon him probably as an important player. You know?
I think if you ask Big Soapy, he would make himself available.
Yeah, I think he would want to play for sure.
I love that, Big Soapy.
Soapy's all Bruins in it.
For the younger listeners and viewers. Yeah,
but that's the only thing I would look at.
You know what I like? No excuses about the surface.
Yeah.
He's already put it out there two days before the game, and I like that because it's easy to say, and it's not an ideal surface. We get that, but two teams have got to play in it. You're used to it as well because you've played previously on it.
Would they train in that, Baz, up at the training ground? Would they train in that sort of surface, or would they just continue on the grass?
I was going to do that when we were playing Kilmarnock in the first game, but I get told it was a total different surface.
Yeah. Ah, right.
So I was like, it's pointless.
Was it better up at Auchenhow? Because Kelly are going to go.
Yeah, the Kelly one's
they're going to be
great.
a real pitch next season.
It's not great at all.
Right. Peter, 10 minutes or so ago, the statement came out from Celtic, Brian Wilson. I read it briefly on the programme, just trying to get what the main thing is. He said, I met in good faith with representatives of the Green Brigade, hopeful that progress could have been made. I also met in good faith with representatives of the Celtic Fans Collective. they mention, this is not intended to deflect, they mention the lifting of suspensions, but they're not saying they're going to do that just now. I wonder how they're going to try to get a resolution to this, which is sucking some of the lifeblood out of that stadium in European night.
Yeah, but in any
game,
Paul,
game, sure.
any game for sure, you know, because there is no doubt when they're all together and that they use the word unity, it's massive, Paul. And as you say, sometimes you're not playing particularly well. It's so important. It pushes you over the line. I know it can be negative at times or whatever, but it's massive that everybody's together, and that's the only way you be successful. We've seen it, Paul. We went through the. I keep going through the people talking about the 90s and whatever. I was through it. You know, we had to play at Hampden. People weren't want to go there to Hampden because it wasn't Celtic Stadium. They didn't come there. They said they shouldn't have paid the money for it. All these things. Then it was getting built, and then it was part of a stadium. But even part of the stadium was even better because the fans were back in and supporting you, and you were back at Celtic Park. Didn't feel like an away game. At this moment in time, the point I'm trying to make is the opposition are coming and being comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've never known that. The opposition should never come to Celtic Park and be comfortable. And I think that happens at times because I've seen Dundee coming, as I said to you, and they were playing with Franz Beckenbauer at the back, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Yeah. But that usually, that demands on you. You're right in people's faces and you're creating chances. And it's so important. And that all comes for the stands as well. I know people say the players should be able to get through that. Yeah. But it's not easy to play in.
Well, Barry asked you, would it affect you?
Yeah,
and you said
course,
you.
Of course it does.
It would annoy me because you've done the warm-up, you're fired up, you're mentally ready to go. The game kicks off and then you're stopped for 3 or 4 minutes. It would do my head.
Well, the best players in the world, Paul, have said that Celtic Park is the place that they've found the most difficult noise-wise. A lot of them. You know, the top players in the world. Yeah. We're only saying it as supporters and we get sometimes wrapped up as if we are the best or we are this or that. But when it's the best in the world come and say that to you, you've got to use that. Sure. You've got to use that to your advantage. And at this moment in time, that's not happening.
I'm sure they said Ibrox.
No.
The thing is, the two
I was talking about in the Champions League.
Who's it going to be next? Here we go, Tynecastle Park for the Champions League, or is it going to be Ibrox? Who's going to be or at Celtic Park? Surely not. Right, final word, Barry.
Just keep it quiet.
I know.
Just getting on with it.
Does the directive come out from HQ? Because Rangers fans are quieter just now. You know, even Ross earlier on, he's not getting carried away.
I think it's important that you don't get carried away. Certainly the players. Look, they've done really well. The manager's done really well to get in this position, but there's still a hell of a lot of football to play.
Right, that's us. No more injury time. Thank you, Barry. Thank you,
It's
Peter.
a pleasure, Paul.
We're back on Monday at 5. Enjoy your weekend. See you then.